Hey guys, welcome back to Joe's RC Corner, and today we're going to be back on the Cricket. We're going to be finishing up the fuel system coming in from the passenger side of the wing, passenger side wing into the fuselage. So stay tuned, and I'll show you what we're working on. All right, guys, so like I said, we're going to be working here on the fuselage. The fuel system, for the most part, on both wings are done for now. I have not closed up the wing, and I'm going to wait on closing up the wing right now because one of the things I want to test, and I know this is probably going to make a mess, but I want to make sure when I put fuel in these tanks that none of my fuel lines are leaking and that I can run the engine from the fuel tanks into the header tank and then into the engine. So we're going to make sure all of that all functions before we go and finish up all of this, because I don't want any of that to leak. I don't want any of the fuel lines to leak. And yes, I know, guys, you're going to be mad at me. I'm using the rubber hoses here, but I tell you what, I think they're going to work out just fine for what I need later on down the road when I upgrade them or when I have to do maintenance on them. I'll probably replace them with steel braid, but for right now, these will work just fine. But the plan will be maybe later on changing that. So right now, what we're working on, and I'm going to go over to the other side because it'll be easier to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so in here, guys, you can see we have this channel in here that I'm running my fuel lines through right here, right? And this side has my vent already going through and down to the bottom, as I discussed in the previous video. But we do have to fix this. I don't want this chafing against that, so we're going to make another hole to run this line through inside here and then come out on the other side with a grommet on both sides, so that way there's no issues with possible chafing and damaging this this cable here. I don't want to have to replace that later on, so we'll fix that up, make it nice, and make it to where it's easily repairable. So we're going to make this next channel, and it's going to fit over on this side. So right now, the first thing is we got to measure the distance that I have it from the front and also from the back, because of course the fuselage does taper, so we want to make sure that they're straight. So I've already measured this front one for where it needs to be. I need to get to the back, get that one measured, and then we can lay it in place, measure where I need to trim, as you can see for the slot here, get that trimmed up, and that way it'll slide over this. And then we'll start working on cutting this part out a little bit, because we want to make sure that this is not going to rub and interfere with the fuel lines that are going through, because there's going to be two coming back on this channel. So you have your main line for the fuel from the engine here, and then you have, or from the two tanks, and then over here you will have the vent line coming back down that way as well, down to the header tank. So that is what I need to work on now. We're going to get that all taken care of. And then at that point, the fuel system is more or less done. And we'll be able to start next week on the electricals, because of course we have all my wires here coming out of the wing on both sides. We need to get those routed down to the sides of these. I'm going to run them right along here, down and up to the front, get all that all hooked up. The other thing we'll be working on next week is, of course, all of my sensors for my engine. All of them are here and connected, and the wires are routed back into the through the firewall. However, I do still need to finish that up and get that all connected to everything. I'm also going to replace this 10 gauge wire here. I think it was 10, maybe it was 6, might have been a 6 gauge wire, so that I have a little bit more slack here. I don't really like how tight this is, so I know that's going to be one of my replacements as well. But started the engine up yesterday and everything ran just fine. no issues at all. Fired up, ran, heated it up to, see, I just checked the temperatures with a infrared sensor, and the gearbox was about 110. This was at about 150, so at least we got her up to temperature, and everything was fine. No issues at all. Checked the oil afterwards. We were good to go. Checked the radiator. Everything was fine there as well. Now, of course, I am getting some of that gear oil back in here, which is fine. It's what it's supposed to be. And also have a little bit back here. And I might top this up a little bit next time I run it, because as the engine cools, it'll suck it back into the system. Yeah, that's what we're going to work on. So we're going to go ahead and get started in there and get this done. All right, guys, so welcome back in. We're just going to close up the video. I didn't hope you enjoyed some of that B-roll from my son. He ran around and got some video that were of working on the parts on the plane. But we're gonna have to take a small break here on the fuel system because I'm just about out of fuel line, and I'm gonna order some, but I think I'm gonna call Alyssa and see if she can send me out about 6 or 7 feet more. That's really all I need. I'm about 6 or 7 feet shy, and I wanna make sure I get the good stuff from her, the stuff that they recommend. Because, and I know why mine's taking a little bit more fuel line, and it has to do with the way I'm routing things, because I'm trying to keep it nice and clean inside. It ended up using a little bit more fuel line than maybe I wanted, but that's okay. Want to make sure it looks nice and clean inside. So let's go ahead and take a look in the airplane and see where we are. All right, guys, hopefully you can see, you got the light on in here. So as you see, we got the second stiffener in here, when this is also gonna be the channel for the fuel line. I still have to take these pieces here, and I need to kind of make these a nice little U shape in there so that the fuel line can go through without being interfered with this. So this makes a whole lot, makes all of this a whole lot stiffer here now, which is great. And this also still will give me the option of putting a plate here with a eyelet. So if I decided to, which I haven't completely decided yet, but if I wanted to put a 3-point harness, I can attach it to these, and this would be attached with A5 rivets on the top. And if I do that, then I might have to order the reinforcement plate that goes right here, or make up a small reinforcement plate here to spread that load. I don't know yet. I may not even do that, but the option is here, is basically what I'm saying. A little bit more cleaning up to do. Got my grommets. This is my fuel in, so this is coming from the tank and goes down into the fuel selector valve here. So now I can select between left and right tank. I do have to run the out back into this, and then that's going to go back to the header tank through this pipe. The vent here will come from the tank over here, go in, and then back, and then to the tank too. So we do still have to open up the hole back there, like I did on this one, but that's all we got to do there. And then all of this will come off, get cleaned up, and when we're ready to paint the wings, we'll paint everything together. So that's where we are on that, guys. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to order up some more fuel line because this is all I have here. I don't really want to use the stiff stuff over here that came with the kit because it's just a little too stiff for my liking. I mean, I could probably use it for the vent because there's no pressure there, but I'd rather just go ahead and run it all with the same fuel line, which is the high quality stuff that you get from Viking aircraft. Now, the only question I got now is there's only one fuel line going down to the header tank. They do normally provide 2 fuel flow filters. Do I now, how does this work now, guys? My plan was just to mount one back here going into the fuel filter or into the header tank because there's only one fuel line now coming from the tanks down into this. So I'll have to take a look to see how that will go, but question to Jan and Alyssa then. Originally used 2 of these. Do I now just use one coming from the main tanks? Because I only have, and then you have the one high pressure that's down inside going up to the front. Let me know what you guys think on that, and then we'll move forward on it. But everything else is ready to go. I'm taking down my airplanes over here that were hanging on the ceiling because we want to bring those back to the house because they're going to get destroyed out here since my hangar leaks. So we're going to go ahead and pull these back apart and get these back out to the house. Maybe we'll do some flights with them soon coming up. I don't know. We'll see how everything works. I know I have to work on that one. But other than that, now we got to clean up again so we can start pulling the stuff apart. And then So the next video, next week, because we're done now for, my break is over, the weekend is over, so now she's got to sit for the week. Plan is on the next video, we'll finish up that fuel section there if I have the fuel line in hand. If I do, we'll finish that up. Otherwise, what we're going to start doing is working on the electricals. I want to get everything hooked up underneath the panel, so I'm going to pull the panel up, get inside there, finish everything up, completely button up everything that's left in there, get that all 100% complete, and that way everything in the front section here will work. All of my fuel sensors, or my sensors for my temperatures and so on, all of that will then be functional and ready, and everything will be working. We'll test that out when we run the engine. Then we're going to start working on getting the wiring from inside the plane up to the front, from the wings. Once that's done, we'll start building the flaperons, get those done. Then everything can come off and get painted. Then we'll get everything back together again and start finalizing everything, finishing up putting in the windows. We got to build that second door, get all that trim painted. But yeah, so she's getting along really good. We'll finish up the other wingtip, finish up the tail, get all the controls rigged, and we're getting close, guys. We're getting very, very close. Anyways, that's where I'm at right now, guys. We're moving along. We're just cooking along on her, and we're going to get the Cricket ready so that maybe we can get her out to Oshkosh. So, anyways, guys, that's all I got. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like what you're seeing, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Also, check out the Teespring store, help support the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Okay.